All right, let's get started. You could hit record to our admin. Let's see. Let me stop sharing, make sure she's in. Okay, good. She's recording. Very good. All right. All right. Good evening. Welcome to this week's Bet on Black pitch here at the 10K Project. Roy, I'm so excited to have you here. This week's business is healthy hip hop. It is our first business pitch that is centered around children. We're so excited to have you. I want the family to know that the campaign is on republic.co, and we'll be putting the link in the chat. But here's the campaign so you know where to go and what it looks like. I'm going to take you through it so you can see what the deal terms are. So if you look here, the deal terms are listed here. As you guys know, all of the information you need is embedded in this campaign page, right? You've got your Form C, you see the terms of the safe, all of that information. Roy even has some perks down here. So as you hear the pitch this evening, make sure you go to the campaign page, do your due diligence. If you do decide to invest in this campaign, make sure you also leave a note under discussion. Under discussion, if you decide to invest in this campaign, leave a note, let Roy know that you came to this campaign via the 10K Project and how excited you are for him with this venture. And on that note, I am going to stop sharing. It's 3 minutes after. We got about 72 people in the group right now. More will come in. And Roy, the floor is yours.
All right, I'm going to share my screen and get started here. All right, let me just get this going. Hello, my name is Roy Scott. I am founder and CEO of Healthy Hip Hop. We are building an urban Disney, infusing hip hop culture with innovative technology, education, and positive attributes. In 2018, hip hop music and genre surpassed country and rock as the most consumed genre in the world and is generating billions of dollars in revenue. Healthy hip hop will be the trailblazers in the children's hip hop market, not only generating substantial revenue, but also making substantial impact. See this guy in the middle? That was me once upon a time. What was I thinking? As a kid, I was heavily influenced by hip hop culture and I didn't understand the importance of education. So after graduating high school, I decided instead of going to college and playing Division I basketball, that I was gonna be a rapper. Not the best decision, but on that journey, I had my wake-up call when I was picking up my son, Justice, from school. And I noticed him repeating my music word for word. These lyrics promoted drugs, violence, and misogyny. That was my light bulb moment. I would have to completely change my direction and my message. And this is when Healthy Hip Hop was born. Not only to be a better influence for my son, but also to lead my family in the correct direction. Taking the urban hip hop beat and then marrying that with a positive message focused around education and health and wellness. Organically growing the brand, we've done more than 1,500 live events, reaching hundreds of thousands of children. Tested the market, proven the concept, and evolved to a tech company so we can meet our growing demand. Creating a virtual world of music, mindfulness, and motivation led by PJ Panda and the Healthy Hip Hop crew. Naturally, we found success in education, where teachers were using Healthy Hip Hop to get their students focused and ready to learn. And we identified a serious problem. Did you know that 2/3 of American students are not reading on grade level? Yet if you put on their favorite rap artist, they can go word for word with that. So we know that kids can learn and retain this information. The challenge is a lack of engagement due to old school learning methods that are not culturally relevant. And this inspired our digital solution, the Healthy Hip Hop SaaS platform, where educators have access to our content and educational resources to help improve focus and engagement and also encourage active learning. Everybody's been impacted by this global health pandemic, and right now, a lot of our kids are being homeschooled. This is proven to be a real problem for parents. The Healthy Hip Hop mobile application gives parents an easy to use tool to keep their kids engaged and empowers them to create custom video content, just like TikTok, but in a much safer environment for children. I've experienced this firsthand, having a daughter who loves TikTok, yet I was concerned with her online safety. And this is why we created our Safe Circle technology, allowing children to create, publish, and share their content in a secure network without the threat of a potential predator, only given access to the true community of family, friends, and educators. We make money by selling an annual subscription directly to parents, also through corporate partners who sponsor schools and hospitals to have access to the Healthy Hip Hop platform. The ed tech market is over $100 billion globally and $30 billion domestically. This is continuing to grow, especially with COVID-19. We're focused on the 30 million parents of kids ages 12 and under and the 2 million elementary teachers nationwide, making our share of the market right at $1.2 billion annually. We have a realistic projection to get to over 10 million in revenue by 2023. And we can hit these numbers by getting to just about 25,000 paid parents and roughly about 1,000 schools on board. And we just closed our biggest contract to date with the Dallas Independent School District, which is worth over $500K. When it comes to our competitors, the top out there right now is going to be GoNoodle and Flocabulary. The biggest difference from us is our cultural competency and the representation, and also our dual-sided technology, allowing the end user to not just consume content, they become creators of the content. Our team is led by experts in the music industry, software engineering, corporate educational sales, but most importantly is our love, passion, and commitment for what we do. Now I want to tell you another very important part of our journey. Healthy Hip Hop was selected to pitch on season 7 of Shark Tank and successfully closed a deal with Kevin O'Leary, AKA Mr. Wonderful, one of the hardest sharks to close, for a $500,000 investment. Well, only to have our episode blocked from airing and our deal pulled off the table because ABC, the network that Shark Tank comes on, is owned by Disney. And they looked at our children's programming as competition. Welcome to Hollywood is what we were told. They basically took a crap on us. So, this is the best and worst validation. Disney sees us as a threat, so we're onto something, but we just lost our deal. And more important, that was the national exposure. They were averaging around 7 million viewers at that time. And ironically enough, Walt Disney is from my hometown of Kansas City. And when I got this news, I was depressed. I was on my couch, didn't get up for about a week. And I was flipping through Netflix and I seen this movie called Walt Before Mickey. And it talked about Walt Disney's entrepreneurial journey. And how he had similar moments where he got rejected, but he stayed resilient until Disney became what it is today. And he made a very profound statement that really stuck with me. He said, "You never know what you're made of until you respond to getting kicked in the teeth." Well, we had just got Mickey's big yellow boot right in the grill. So after scraping my face off the pavement, I got in the trenches of all the entrepreneurial resources that my hometown of Kansas City had to offer. We secured over $100,000 in non-dilutive grants to develop and test our MVP, got selected for Digital Sandbox, Arts Grants, and also Lean Lab Education. And we made the move from Kansas City to Atlanta, getting accepted also into the Social Impact Accelerator for Techstars in Atlanta. Also part of that story is Walt Disney moved from Kansas City to LA to make Disney what it is today. And so I'm moving from KC to the A to, got to make our way. A little rhyme while I'm at it. After we joined Techstars, we just launched our mobile application and in a short amount of time grown to over 5,000 active users, secured multiple paid pilots, and brought on 3 corporate partners who believe in our mission, vision, and values. We're currently raising a $1 million seed round. Those funds are going to be used to develop next iterations of our technology, make key hires, and really turn up our sales and marketing efforts. Our Republic campaign is currently live with the goal to reach that million by the end of August. Right now, we're right at 14 grand. We just recently launched it. And once we hit that initial 25K mark, that's when Republic gets behind it, to start pushing it through their networks, and we're pushing it through our channels as well to really turn up and hit that $1 million mark so we can transform a generation. Healthy hip hop is for the children, for the culture. Tell a teacher, tell a parent to download the app and become a part of the movement today. We will be honored to have you on this journey with us to help impact lives and truly make a difference for this next generation. I'll be glad to take anybody's questions.
Roy, thank you so much for that. That was great. You know, it's always amazing to me how resilient we are as a people. I mean, it really is. You know, the fact that you were able to feel the disappointment from what happened, but you got right back up, and here you are now, and you're running a successful organization. I think is a true testament of the type of entrepreneur you are, the type of leader you are, and so congratulations to you for that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's been a journey, and just embracing every moment, and just trying to make the best of it. And really, I can smile about it now. That Shark Tank moment did hurt, but it also helped kind of define me and my resilience and what we're going to do with this organization, and helped me really because when we initially pitched, we really didn't have a strong business model. So it forced me to really learn the business, how we're going to scale this company. So at the end of the day, I think it was a blessing in disguise.
Questions, guys, put your questions in the Q&A. So Roy, talk a little bit more about the subscription plan, how much you charge, how it all works.
Absolutely. So for direct to consumers, for like a parent or an individual teachers, it costs $40 per year. And so the way that works is there's always going to be a freemium version. So there's a free version of the app, but it's going to be limited. So if you want the full music library, the full content library, all the in-app features and services, then you pay $40 annually to have full access. And when we're working with corporate partners, they'll underwrite a school or school district or even hospitals. That number comes down probably 50 to 60% just based on the amount of licenses, because obviously that's just a kind of a larger number of individuals that they'll be underwriting.
Very good. And what's the target child's age?
So right now we're focused really on that K through 5, that pre-K through 5, when those moral foundation is really being developed. But what we found is we've been able to transcend into middle school and high school because of the music. So really, when you take a listen to the music, that was kind of our true value proposition. So when I, made the transition, basically coming from gangster rap to doing like kids healthy hip hop, there was quite the swing of the spectrum. But where the parents really engaged with us is because the music sounded relevant to what was happening in the streets, in the communities, and on the radio. And so that's how we kind of got their early adoption, because they really love the music. And so that's kind of what, transcends from elementary even to middle and high school.
Very good. And we've got a few questions in here. Anderson says, I work with children at my church. Do you have an avenue pointed to Christian teaching?
Yes. So what we do is, so personally for me, that's a great question. So me personally, I am faith-based, and this is a God movement. And so really what we do is essentially we teach like, spiritual and godly principles, but without like attaching it to a religion. So we're saying, love each other, treat each other fairly, work hard, etc. But we do actually work with some churches, but we keep it kind of just with the messaging like that, because a lot of schools, you can't bring Christ into the church. You can't bring whatever religion, into the school building. But this is based on godly principles, and we do work with churches.
Very good. Anonymous says, please share an example use case, an example of functionality.
Absolutely. So I actually would like to show, let me see. So I'm going to share my screen one more time here.
All right.
I'm going to show you what educators are currently doing and where we're seeing the most engagement right now. Pull this up here. And then I'll also show you, we have the app is also live both on iOS and Android. We have a new version that's coming down the pike, but you can use what we have out there right now. It has most of the music library. And so this here is the main platform. and where, you know, an educator will come and create their sign. Excuse me, my internet's moving a little slow. And you'll see here where, and these are my two kids on both sides there. So I got them working already. But you'll see some of this movement based. So right now, a lot of the our use cases are more movement based. And so once an educator gets logged in here, let me see. They get logged into the platform. Oh, geez, let me see if I was going to automatically be logged in. Let's do that. All right. Okay, so this is the dashboard. And so once they get in here, you'll see a lot of our kind of movement-based content. So right now, a teacher will get logged in and to start their day. They'll do like a morning energizer or like morning affirmations, and they'll also do brain breaks throughout the day. And so I'll pull up, so let's just say they pull up PJ Panda. So if they're in the classroom settings, kids will stand up next to their desk. Also to get kids physically active, because another pain point that we're solving is the United States is one of the last schools that has a sedentary learning. It's like sit down all day and retain this information. But we know kids don't function like that. So this helps also encourage physical activity throughout their school day. So they'll stand up next to their desk, or even in a distance learning setting, they'll just kind of do a follow along dance with PJ, one of our characters.
Yeah. Oh, PJ Panda. Yeah, gotta get my mind right, body right, life right. You did? Yo, ooh, 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 ooh. I'm so healthy, gotta be healthy, wanna be healthy. I like to be healthy, my physical health, mental health. I take care of myself. Ooh.
So you see the messaging, you know, still has the beat, but the messaging is all cleaned up. So right now, our highest use cases is teachers use it throughout the day for physical activity, but we also do a live streaming. So right now, nothing is live, but we live stream virtual concerts. We also live stream professional development. We do guided dance, all exclusively here through our site. And so that's the top use cases right now on that side. What I'm going to show you next, I want to show you the new version also, but I'm going to show you the app that's currently live, and anyone can go and download this. Let me share my screen one more time here. All right, let's see. Oops, I think I shared the wrong thing. Let me share my phone. There we go. All right. Is it not showing my phone? Is it still just showing my screen, or is it showing the phone?
It's starting. It says it's starting to share.
Okay. All right. Trust. We trust it. I think we trust it. Okay, it's not letting me show the app, but you can download the app. I'm gonna try one more time. I would like to show it, but for some reason it's not letting me. Let me see. Make sure it's all the way plugged in here. There we go. Do this one more time. All right, here we go.
There you go.
So you'll see here, when I get to the app, where is it at? There it is. So there's a few things, and this is the app that's live right now. We have a new version that's coming, but so in the app, you'll see the music where you can stream it. So we call it Spotify meets TikTok. So you'll see like Princess Panda, Leo Lion, and when you get to any music, you know, you can just go in there and just stream the music exclusively through the app. But then we take it a step further, and there's user-generated content. So this is where the TikTok style videos come in. So you'll download the app. You can use like different filters within the app. You know, unicorn, you want to be chewy, you want to rap or dance or do different stuff because kids love this. And then, you know, it goes to your safe circle. So within your safe circle, this is where your family, friends, etc. So you can share this in a safe place. We also gamify the process. So you'll see the leaderboard, who's getting the most activity, and we reward our users that way. And another reason this is so important as far as like the user generated content and allowing kids to create in a safe space is because this is the first generation of fully native internet and social media using children, but a lot of platforms are not built with them in mind. So parents can feel safe that, you know, when you put your kids on Healthy Hip Hop, they're not going to be exposed to the wrong content, and also not everybody can access them. I mean, because we were doing, back when we were really doing a lot of events, because we made the pivot, we're going to get back to some, because obviously COVID really shut that down. But even before COVID, we kind of made that pivot to get out of the live events, even though we'll still do some. but be more on the tech side so we can scale. We would do a performance afterwards. We would have third grade kids messaging us on Instagram. And so again, these kids are more and more early exposed to us. So now at least, you know, we can provide a safe social media experience through Healthy Hip Hop.
Yeah, that's critical. All right. Chris says, with the stronghold of negative hip hop in urban areas, what's your plan to attract urban kids? Our kids need this ASAP.
Absolutely. So again, kind of our value proposition is the music sounds similar to the streets. And I was just actually talking with one of my business partners today about this. Is we're not necessarily anti hip hop. So we're pro hip hop, but we're pro our children. Like, we love hip hop, but we love our kids more. So we are actually working with certain influencers in the game because these rappers have kids. And that's what, as we prepare for a full launch, we're getting the right influencers to come on board. For example, like one we're working on is Drake, and because one of our investors on that we have investment funds coming through, they have a growth partner for us, a gentleman named Cortez Bryant, and we're working on that right now. So imagine Drake, you know, saying, "Hey, listen, I know y'all love my music, but your kids should be listening to healthy hip hop." So getting key influencers from the culture to really back this, because like I said, this is important and this is needed. So really getting hip hop culture behind this to say why this is so important. And that's really going to help us get adoption and be, you know, in these urban areas to kids who really need it the most, is getting stamped and validated from individuals in the hip hop culture who they look up to.
Very good. Latrice says, what subjects can kids learn about? Is it just math?
No, it's going to really, our primary focus is literacy and STEM to start, with the real hyper focus on literacy at the beginning, because kind of as I mentioned in my pitch, is that we have a lot of kids who can't read on grade level, but if you put on their favorite rap artist, who a lot of us, I can't understand a lot of the words they're saying, but they can repeat it word for word, right? And so even if you go back to even like Dr. Seuss, like teaching words through, you know, rhyming, teaching vocabulary and sight words and reading comprehension through rhyming words and rap, I think it's going to be critical to really reach our kids at a young age. And another reason why that's so important is because, as I mentioned, two things: obviously the generating revenue, because there's a lot of money out there right now for you know, kids learning, being ready to learn, going into kindergarten, also K-3, but also more importantly for us is that impact. Because right now there's this thing out there, you know, called the pipeline to prison, and it's showing that if kids can't read it on grade level going into third grade, they have an 80% chance higher of, you know, of committing crimes. And so we want to reach them at an early age through a medium and vehicle that they love, and inspire them to, you know, be better readers, better learners, be better students and citizens. So primary to answer that question is starting focusing on literacy and STEM, but we're going to expand it. And also we have other contributors who are in the education space, because you may have seen, like, there's certain teachers who have went viral from like taking a popular song and then repurposing it with a educational topic. And so we have a lot of contributors who are actually going to be on the platform, you know, adding their content to that and finding a way for them to also, you know, monetize. And so kind of keeping that selective, but opening it up to select educators who are in the space, so that we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We have educators who are actually in the trenches who you know, have the cachet, and it's better when for teacher to teachers, like more like peer to peer versus us trying to kick it down. It's like, you know, it's peer to peer, and they become kind of our mouthpiece. And so that's one of the things we're doing also, is having contributors who are already creating content kind of with a hip hop theme to it.
Roy, I love that you brought up the whole school to prison pipeline, because we did a session just yesterday. We did a whole session with the community on that. And the session was taking it from the angle of what types of businesses we can invest in to help mitigate some of the risks that the children have to kind of being in that pipeline. And so, you know, I love that you brought that up, because your business is an example of one of the many business models that we could invest in to help the children.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's extremely important to us, because it's another thing that it's starting to get a little light now, but it was kind of been quiet and brushed under, swept under the rug. Is like years ago, because, you know, when hip hop essentially what healthy hip hop is doing is taking hip hop back to its roots, but making it culturally, relevant to what's happening today. Because when hip hop was born in New York, in the late 70s, it was born because there was a lot of like violence, a lot of gang, drug activity, stuff like that. And this is where people could come together and, they were break dancing, they were, MCing, so the 5 kind of elements of hip hop. And it was like a place for people to come together and celebrate culture. And even some of the early topics, like, it's talking about self-destruction, a lot of that stuff, it was baked in there. That was the messaging. And the powers that be, seeing how influential, that's why right now hip hop is the most influential genre in the world right now. But they were seeing what was happening, how this was influencing the communities, specifically Black and brown communities. And there was this secret meeting. Y'all can look this up. They have some online about it, where the record executives met with the prison executives, and they wanted to push a new narrative. And that's when you started seeing gangster rap, you started seeing NWA, because they knew if they can kick this narrative of drugs, violence, of tearing down the community, tearing down our women, etc., that this was going to disseminate, and you would see, and guess what would happen? Now they would be committing crimes, and it would be this back to that pipeline of prison. And you see right now, like our prisons are filled with majority, us. And so it ties into that as well. And that's why we think this is so important, because music is super influential. And we know we've reached these kids at an early age and let them know, hey, listen, you can still have a swag, you can still be cool, all that, but you can be educated and be cool. You can stand on principles and morals and be cool. And so that's why healthy hip hop is really important to us.
Yeah, I love that. Gerald says, please share specifics on how life values will be incorporated. I'm concerned about the CRT that's creeping into our school systems. Will you stay focused on STEM and real American history?
Absolutely. So the cool thing too about this is, as you know, like with the school systems, that's why we kind of also pivoted to having this direct to consumer offering, because the school systems are so antiquated. We're in 2021 and they're using systems built in 1921, right? And so a lot of the times it's hard to innovate within the school system. So that's why we are looking to get directly to parents also. But we're making sure, like a lot of our contributors, another team we're working with is a hip hop ed, like Dr. Chris Edmond. We're still kind of finalizing what that looks like, but he has a real strong push of like education in hip hop, that we are going to be teaching real American history. And a lot of those things, we're just going to be like certain stuff, obviously we're going to be giving, even though the free will be limited, but we want to make sure that everybody has access to it. But yes, we're going to make sure that everything, the focus is that literacy and STEM out the gate. And I'm sorry, can you answer the question one more time so I can make sure I answer it fully correctly?
Yeah, let me go back to it. He says, please share specifics on how life values will be incorporated. That was the first part of the question.
Got it. Okay.
And then he said, I'm concerned about the CRT that's creeping into our school systems. Will you stay focused on STEM and real American history?
Yeah, so we to answer the second part, yes, we will stay focused on that for sure. And then the life values. So what we're really teaching our kids, that's why I love the 10K project, is we're reaching our kids early about financial literacy. And so we have a song called Run Up a Check and Save It, because we use a lot of terms that kids are using today. So run up a check, and we're talking about investing at early ages, entrepreneurship at early age. And so we're talking about financial literacy. We're really trying to, because that's another thing about the school systems. They're teaching our kids a lot of things that are really not going to be applied in real life. And so that's what we want to do through music, is teach them things that are actually going to be applicable, in life.
Very good. Jesse says, any revenue expected from ancillary merchandising?
Absolutely. So big picture for us, again, is our North Star is to become an urban Disney. And so, for example, PJ Panda, he's our signature, he's our flagship character. So we built a suite of, so what Mickey Mouse is for Disney, that's what PJ Panda is for healthy hip hop. And you can even look on some of our YouTube stuff. Like I think we've got about over 5 million views on YouTube, about 25,000 subscribers. If you just want to check out some of PJ Panda stuff. But absolutely, we're getting to like PJs, which is like PJ Panda pajamas. We're getting into children's books. So we have a roadmap to that. And our goal first is to really hit scale with the tech on the technology side, because we have this live. And once our real goal is to get to 25,000 paid parents, that'll put us at $1 million in revenue. And that's part of our roadmap, is to get to the merchandise and all and the ancillary products, because just like with for example, like with SpongeBob or anything else, you can get SpongeBob backpacks, you know, all that type of stuff. So all that's in the works, and that lives forever. And so that's how we're going to be able to make, you know, money in perpetuity.
Very good. Anonymous says, just like Kids Bop, or how is this different?
Well, here's the difference. Well, Kids Bop, let's just be honest, it's not knocking them because they found their own success, but it's very whitewashed, it's watered down, it's really not built for the culture. That's why we say for the children, for the culture. You know, and most of our music is original. They're essentially just making remakes. Like, we make a lot of original music. Now we will do some cover songs, but not a lot. Probably at 90% of our music is all original. And the difference also with you know, Kids Bop essentially is just, you know, hey, you can play music that's like popular songs that's already out there, but a lot of the times, even if you change the words, the context is still there, right? But with us, we take it a step further with the technology. And so being able to stream the music and engage and create these TikTok style videos. So we're taking another level. And again, this is for the children, for the culture. Like, this is, when you see a lot of things like that happen, I mean, it's a lot of, you know, like culture vultures. A lot of it is, you can tell people that are not from the culture that are trying to do it, and you can just tell. Like, listen to Kids Bop, and your kids know what it's Kids Bop. Like, man, that's, you know, and they might have a few they rock with. So again, I'm not knocking them. They found their success, and wish them all the best. But we're definitely taking it to another level as far as really representing the culture the right way.
Very good. Perez says, how did you feel about Disney counting you as competition?
Well, originally I was just pissed about it. Because I was thinking like, well, you know, if anything, like, we could have found a way to partner, but that's just what we've seen is that's really not how the giants work. They don't want to see innovation. They'll try to squash you like they try to do us. But all they did was put gas on my fire. They thought that was going to crush me, but they just validated me. Really, okay, well, I'm on to something, so I'm going to have to pivot. Even though we had a totally different business model, because when we pitched on Shark Tank, we were pitching five aspects of the business, which was the syndication of a kids television show. We did film a 30-minute pilot prior to Shark Tank. The publishing of our music, our live events, our curriculum and merchandise. And so it was really different. So we made the pivot. So initially I was hurt, and then I was upset, but that turned into motivation. And now, as I learned, because that's been 5 years, is that really, like I said earlier, it helped shape me into what I was supposed to be as an entrepreneur. And I understand it's business, not personal. So now the next time we see Disney, it's going to be with a nice exit check. They'll be acquiring us. You know, we'll come to the table like, yeah, you know, it's going to be a lot of zeros on that, and it'll be no love lost, and we're going to keep it moving.
I love that. The second part of Perez's question is, will you continue to use that comparison to push the agenda of the positive messaging to the youth?
Absolutely. So, I mean, just all the way around the board, we're going to continue to use that comparison. And as far as us becoming an urban Disney, yeah, for sure. Like, that's just a big part of the story. And like I said, it was a lesson learned. There's no love lost. It's straight business. And it took me a while to learn that. But I'm still learning and applying.
Good. What are your content, or who are your content creators?
So it's led by my co-founder, Wes Smith. So he's the creator of PJ Panda. So that kind of ties into the story. So after the Shark Tank debacle, when we got, you know, booted, I was in the trenches like, okay, how are we gonna get this thing to the next level? And actually I had a different business partner at the time. And at that time, he wasn't able to bounce back. It was too big of a blow, you know, because it was like, you know, you talking about mountain high to valley low. It's like, listen, we about to be on 7 million viewers on our business, windfall of opportunities to being in the trash can. So I had the faith, and I knew, because, you know, but my previous partner, he wasn't able to stick through that. And so I was like, you know, we parted ways, and I had a good founders agreement. So he walked with no equity. And so I got back in the trenches, started grinding, started getting to the tech space, started going through multiple programs, learning about raising capital, all of these things. And during that process, I was on the West Coast, and I got introduced to a gentleman who knows Wes, who mentored Wes. And he's like, man, I told him about healthy hip hop, what we're doing. He's like, well, Wes just launched, literally had just kicked off the PJ Panda. And so I said, cool. So I heard the music. So I have a very good ear for music. And so I heard him, I was like, man, music was incredible. So I met with Wes. I started contracting with him at first. I was like, man, I love what you're doing with PJ Panda. Started contracting with him, painted the picture of how we can become an urban Disney, how we can own the platform, because he was putting stuff on YouTube. And like I said, one of the videos has like 2 million views, but they keep making it harder and harder to monetize because YouTube, they'll change the algorithms, they'll change the requirements, etc. And I was like, imagine us owning the technology, and we get to set the algorithms, we get to set the requirements. And that's kind of the picture I was painting, like we'll be the owners of the tech, And so a lot of the times, now we're seeing it now more, which I'm excited about, but you're not typically seeing, Black and brown founders owning these platforms. So he ended up buying in. And so now he leads, we have a team of writers and producers all in-house. And we, again, created kind of more characters around it. And I still contribute also, but I'm more focused on the kind of the operations and fundraising side. But the team is led by Wes Smith, and we have a really strong team of writers and producers.
Nice. Bonnie says, are you depending on parents to introduce this app to their children? And if so, how will you capture the parent market?
Absolutely. So that's where, even now, so we have about 6,000 active users, and it's been mostly organic because we really haven't been putting any ads out yet. We're getting prepared for like an official full launch, because right now, even though we're publicly live, it's still what we consider like a public beta. And so a lot of our engagement is coming from young urban mothers. And so, which is like we call YUMs. It's the kind of acronym, young urban mothers who are really interacting with healthy hip hop. And so one of the ways it's coming up is we have a really strong, ad campaign coming out. And also another individual I didn't mention yet, but we're working on like closing a deal with Sierra because she really represents the demographic, and she dances and she's tied, Russell, et cetera. So working on some key influencers coming on board, but really putting together a strong, again, I was talking about business partner today. He's really helping with this campaign, what we're looking at. And really it's less about, this campaign is going to be less about, hey, check out this incredible music for your kids. It's going to be more about, just the awareness and just pulling the heartstrings and saying, listen, you love hip hop, right? But we're pro hip hop, but we're pro our kids. Like, you wouldn't put your kids in front of a rated R movie with curse and blood and guts, et cetera. And so we're not knocking hip hop, because we know there's a place for that. And hip hop is doing what it's doing. But this is a positive alternative for our kids. And so this is how we get behind it and start shaping our kids at an early age. And so really kind of telling that story and pulling on the heartstrings of why this is so important to get parents to really buy into us and become, our advocates and recruiting other parents. So we're really kind of fine tuning that campaign, in addition to getting key influencers to really get parents to buy in. So on that side, then we also are using the schools as a pipeline. So we give a free version to the schools, so the teachers get excited about it, the kids use it, and the kids come home like, hey, we doing healthy hip hop. And so it kind of translates that way as well.
Very good. And you kind of answered this, but I'll read it anyway, because you may have more. Perez says, do you plan on inviting artists to the platform like the old school Sesame Street model? And you talked about Sierra and maybe Drake. So how would you incorporate them into the platform, into the experience?
Absolutely. So it's a couple ways. So some is kind of like I said, some of that kind of Sesame Street model where we're, basically influencers come on and, do some stuff with our characters. So like having, Sierra with Princess Panda, or who are, doing some of that way. But also what we're basically doing is we're setting a template. So if you think of like PJ Panda, and so he's got an artist behind him. So imagine once we really grow this thing out and really start getting the culture behind us, popular artists having their own characters, right? And so now this gives these artists who got kids and who recognize this too. For example, there was a video maybe a couple months ago where Cardi B was playing WAP, right? And her daughter walked in the room and she turned it off. Like, what I'm saying? You don't want your 5-year-old daughter to be listening to WAP, right? And so these artists, they know. And so now healthy hip hop is essentially going to give them an outlet to still, do dope stuff, but for kids. And now you can put a character on them. And so now you're kind of, again, one of the questions I answered earlier is how now that's how we get the urban kids, because we're going to have your favorite artists who still do their hip hop thing that we are not knocking, but now they're giving us a clean, outlet for kids and uplifting them that way. And so that's how we would kind of integrate with other, artists, producers, and influencers.
Very good. Warren says, is this available in other languages? He gave Spanish as an example.
So we're starting with Spanish to start, and then we are going to get into other languages as well. But yeah, we're starting with Spanish just because, especially, so we've got the Dallas contract. A lot of schools we work with in Texas, they have a very high, Latino population. So definitely Spanish is the first one we're working on. Then we're going to roll out others as well.
Sharnetta says, can you please give an example of how STEM is incorporated into the program?
Absolutely. So a couple of things is obviously we create a lot of music that is, based around the science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. But then the way we take it to the next level is some of our contributors who are, already educators in the space will work with specific like science teachers where they'll, create, basically kind of really short videos that break down like basic information around certain science topics, but kind of in a hip hop form. And then they'll do like these really short form quizzes afterwards. And the reason we have to keep it bite sized to start is because in the school settings, what we're seeing from our research is that, a lot of our teachers are overworked and underpaid. So it's hard to fit in, and they have a whole bunch of things they already have to, do in the classroom. So it's kind of hard to infuse a whole new curriculum. So essentially Healthy Hip Hop serves as a curriculum support. So they'll get music and they'll get, video content based around specific, STEM and STEAM, because we include the arts, content.
Right. Sarah says, as you scale, how will you continue to keep your finger on the pulse of what's new and trendy for kids in this age group? And then I'll read her second part in a moment.
Yeah, well, I think the cool thing is, my own kids are who drive me, right? So that's how I keep my ear to the street on what's on what's happening, what's the new slang, what's the new TikTok dances they doing. I can't keep up with whatever they doing now. I get to watch them. But also we just stay tuned in, to the streets and to what's going on to make sure that everything, we're doing is continuing to be culturally relevant, because that's another big thing. The cultural competency is a hot button, especially in education, because just a lot of the, content programs out there are just, they're just watered down. They're not engaging for our kids. And so that's how, Healthy Hip Hop is going to kind of be able to keep that cultural competency.
And then Sarah asks the second question is, are kids focus groups part of your creative ideation process?
Yes. Yeah. So kids focus groups, actually kids, teachers, and parent focus groups. And what we're doing is, so we actually have some kid contributors who are also going to be, adding content to the platform as well. Some will just be obviously in their own safe circles, but we'll be highlighting some kids to actually create that will go to the feed that everybody will have access to.
Okay. Anderson says, I know that kids love video games, interactive play. Are you looking into moving into that realm?
100%. And so that's what, again, what we're saying, like, the urban Disney. And so it's a roadmap to it. And so one of the things I've learned the hard way is I gotta, and most entrepreneurs are creative thinkers, or you got these ideas and then you're all over the place. So really we're trying to really narrow the focus and kind of hit our clearest path to scale, but definitely get into gaming, because, esports and gaming is actually the biggest industry in the world. It surpassed cannabis, it surpassed, you name it. It's number one. It's the biggest genre. It's bigger than cannabis, music, and like television, like combined. So we definitely will be getting into the gaming, but it's still going to be a clear roadmap to that, so we can really stay focused to how we get to scale. And then once we get to scale, raise the brand awareness, start generating revenue, start bringing on key partners, we'll be able to kind of branch out and do a lot more things.
Anonymous says, how do you make money with this program if you give it to the schools for free? Have you considered government contracts?
Great question. So the free version they get is limited. So even though they get and the reason we do this is because we know there's certain underserved schools that may not have the budgets. And for those underserved schools, we do go after corporate partners to have them underwritten, but still the free version is really limited. So you're not going to get all the access. But the government contracts is definitely a thing we're looking into, especially now because there's a huge budget out there for different e-learning and stuff with because of COVID-19. So we definitely are looking into that because there's the big budgets on the table for that. So yes, indeed.
Very good. And I think, Cherie, correct me if I'm wrong, but we've got a contact for someone who could help Roy with government contracts, don't we?
Yes, we do.
That would be
Very good.
excellent.
So we can send that information over to you.
Perfect.
Gerald says, as an event promoter, I am very interested in how you see live event opportunities, mascots, family fun environments, etc.
Absolutely. So really when we started, the live events was our main business model. And so we had done over 1,500 live events and the shows kept kind of going up. So we were doing school events. Then we did, we performed at the LeBron James Family Foundation in Akron, Ohio. We did stuff with MLB, NFL. And so really that part of our model will kind of be like the Kidz Bop model. And so we have kid dancers, we have the mascots. And so now essentially we could be doing, 10 shows simultaneously, obviously once things start getting opened back up, in different cities and different states at the same time. So we definitely are going to be doing that because we want to, like you said, kind of create these fun, experiences through hip hop because most of us, we love hip hop culture, but it's kind of hard to have a safe experience with your kid without them being exposed to, some of the wrong messaging and wrong things, even though the beat might be dope or, the melodies, etc. And so that's why we believe this is so important is because we want to create some of those family experiences and with the live events as well. So what we've learned is how we can scale it now, again, with the kid dancers, because you got kid dancers in pretty much every city, kind of like a Disney on Ice kind of model is what we'll be seeing with the live events.
And I just had a thought too, and I'll read the next question, but the question was asked about the celebrities, right? But my brain went to some of those children influencers right now. There's so many of them on YouTube. I mean, they already have, 10 million viewers that are your target market.
Exactly.
So if you could connect with some of those children influencers, this thing could catch on quickly.
Well, that's a big part of our go-to-market strategy. So another thing is there are a handful of kid rappers. So you guys probably heard of Zaza, the 5-6-year-old girl who's been on Ellen, different stuff. They got Lele. There's a young guy named King Saya. And you're right, they have these strong followings. So what's happening is kind of a similar thing with them. YouTube is making it harder for you to generate revenue on kids content because they had that big lawsuit where they lost millions and millions of dollars because of basically you had so many kids on YouTube, but you would get these ads and they kind of take them down a rabbit hole. So they got sued for that. So now if you do children's content, you have to market it as children's content because you can't monetize it. So a handful of the big ones are still finding some ways to make money, but definitely that's part of our go-to-market strategy is tapping into some of these and then also hosting some of their music within the app. Because now essentially we're our own Spotify. So we have our own platform where you can stream music exclusively with us. And so creating these deals where they can host their music privately here, have them kind of push that through their channels and do like a revenue share with those, who do have those strong followings. So great question. And that is part of our go-to-market strategy.
Good. Perez says, what's your entry point into the school classrooms or after school offering?
So with this, it just depends. So we have a lot of champion educators. So what we like to do is there's like teachers who absolutely love healthy hip hop. And then we'll identify these champions and that's how we kind of can work within the school and get them to be a kind of our mouthpiece within the school and get other teachers excited about it, get at the admin and stuff like that excited about it. But also kind of how we deal with this Dallas deal, I was just going to conferences. And so they're actually starting to open stuff back up this summer a little bit. But going to these educational conferences, really getting in front of like, key decision makers to kind of get it at a district level as well. But also I think kind of, our ad campaign strategy is really, as we officially launch, is going to be really geared towards like, hey, getting in front of these innovative educators and how they can implement this in the classroom and kind of give them their free version. And they can actually unlock the paid version by sharing this with 10 of their educators. So we kind of finding a viral way to get people, to get educators to share with other teachers.
Okay. And then the final question we have in here says, how will you position yourself against Walt Disney lookalike? Excuse me, let me read that again. How will you position yourself against a Walt Disney lookalike product? That's the first part of his question.
Yeah, well, I think, again, here's the deal. So these are, huge companies they do well. And like Disney, you can't, man, like I said, you can't knock Disney what they do.
Not Disney.
Disney is Disney. So like I said, I'm not knocking what they doing. But for what we're doing, again, this is like, again, for the culture, like from the culture. So it's different. They can attempt, and they are doing some stuff where, they're kind of trying to change it up, but it's still different because it's the authenticity of that cultural competency and that cultural representation is really what's going to continue to set us apart.
And the last two questions are the same question. What is your exit strategy?
So the exit strategy is get to 1 million active users, have 25% of those active users paid, so around 250K paid users. And again, that's when Disney comes back and Disney is like, hey, listen, it's an acquire and hire. For example, like there was a game, I want to say around 2013 or so, with Club Penguin, that Disney acquired for like 750 million back then. Once we really get the culture behind us, once we start picking up our brand awareness, once we get the users, and now you'll see it's more about the users than anything else. Like, for example, Clubhouse, they're not generating $1, but they have all these active users and they're raising money at a $4 billion valuation, because also the data is extremely valuable. And so once we hit a million active users, the Disneys, the Nickelodeons of the world, et cetera, will be coming to acquire us. And that's our exit strategy.
And Latrice has a comment here, and she said, it would be good for you to collaborate with the Kids' Choice Awards as well as perform there live. That's a great suggestion as well.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. So actually one of my advisors is connected with some executives at Nickelodeon. And so we're going to open some of those conversations up once we really launch and get this thing off the ground. But definitely we're open to that for sure.
All right. Great pitch. I'm going to say this to the community. We don't group think here, right? We're not a fund. You're individual investors. And so I want you to take everything you heard tonight and make your decision on from an investment standpoint. But one of the things you can do, whether you decide to personally invest or not, is you can share this campaign, right? You can share this campaign to your family and friends. You can download the app if you have children or nieces or nephews, any child in your life. When you're at school with your child, tell the parents about it. Tell the school administration about it. I mean, it sounds like to me, this experience that a child could have using the app, in my opinion, could really make a difference in how they learn, what they're learning, and they can still be cool, right? Right? They can still be cool. And so I would ask you to please share. That's one of the other ways we can support our Black founders, is we can share their campaigns and share their business models to help them get closer to success. Roy, you have any final words?
I just want to say thank you for the time and consideration, and glad to be be a member of the 10K Project. Love what you all stand for, and just want to say thank you so much for this opportunity.
All right, family, don't forget the link. I'm going to leave it up. I'm not going to go yet. I want you all to copy that link. Get that link. Republic.co, Healthy Hip Hop is the campaign. It's open until, you said August, right?
The end of August, yep.
End of August, but you know how we do. We don't want to wait till the end because we've done that before, right?
Yes, I have.
Yeah,
Y'all know my story. Yes. Don't wait.
Cherie waited and she missed it.
And I missed it. Yeah. So look, I'm telling everybody to please, over the next 24 hours, do your due diligence, make a decision.
Absolutely, absolutely. And in the discussion feed on Republic's site, don't forget to say, that you give a shout out to 10K so Roy can know that he's getting some 10K love from his future investors. I see this being something wonderful. Unfortunately, my baby's 34 years old and we had our Barney era, right? I wish something like this was around then because we love hip hop. And so this would have been perfect for us. But I think this is wonderful. I absolutely do. And I think you're going to be hugely successful with this. And I don't know. I know you're saying your exit strategy is the Disney thing, but I think you could give Disney a run for their money with this.
Hey, I agree too.
I think you could. I think they may write that check and you might think about it. Yeah, whereas now you think that's the answer. You might say, I don't know. I'm doing pretty good on my own, Mr. Disney.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, once we get to, I'm a simple man, right? Once we get to a couple million in revenue, that's going to be great to, for us. But then as we continue to grow it, I agree. I think that we can definitely, we can surpass that. And that's our goal. And that's our goal. And she'll put it, keep working hard and keep our faith strong and, and see where God takes us.
Well, you have the backing of the 10K project. You're part of this family now, whether you like it or not. And so we're going to rally around you and lift you up, brother. Congratulations on this campaign, and anything you need from us, you just let us know.
Yeah, since I have the ability to unmute myself, I am going to say this. Disney did Black Panther. We could do the same with you and with what you're doing. And again, I'm with Tawana. We're not telling anybody how to invest or anything like that, but if they did billions of dollars with Black Panther, we can as well. So
absolutely. And that's what we look at this too, is like, as far as investing, like imagine being able to invest in Disney on the ground level. And so that's what we're offering here. And, we're excited to make the revenue, but also to make the impact. And we do want to keep this, within the culture. So that's our ultimate goal. So.
Yeah. I'll read Perez's more of a comment, but he says, why would you want to sell this type of impactful message delivery platform instead of becoming the urban Disney?
Oh, yeah.
He said, I'm more afraid of what happens to the message like BET when it gets sold.
Absolutely. No, the goal is, so obviously we have to answer that question because a lot of investors, they do want to know like how we're going to see the return, et cetera. But our goal is ultimately to go public. So we do an IPO, keep it all in house and literally become the urban Disney. So that is the ultimate goal.
Yeah. All right. Well, congratulations. Good luck on the campaign. We are going to be watching your success. I need to find some kids so I can tell them about this.
Hey, you can listen to yourself. We had a couple parents hit us like, you know what? Like, I'll be playing PJ Panda and I ain't got no kids. Like, and that PJ Panda is tough. I'm trying to tell you.
Okay. You can let me download this app and rock the PJ while I go to sleep tonight.
I'm serious. The music is hard.
All right. Good night, everybody. I appreciate you guys so much. Have a wonderful rest of your week.
All right. Thank you so much.
Bye.